Step 14, twin tabs. As mentioned in the third video titled Consultations at 5 minutes and 41 seconds, if you need to refer back, these are columns instead of rows. Twin tabs are like if tape-ins had a baby with hand-tied extensions. They eliminated the sticky tape and the sewing. They took the benefits of both methods and combined them into this method. Full transparency, Remy Cachet USA is the only brand I have experience with that carries this type of extension technology. I have had a lot of happy clients use this method, and I've had a couple of clients not like it. The rows are nice because you know exactly where they are lined up in a row. The tabs can feel weird and randomly placed because the client can feel a little blind as to where they are. So it takes a little bit of trial and error, but I encourage you to give it a try. Like machine wefts, you get a lot of fullness from root to tip with twin tabs. Because they are machine made, they are bound tightly, which helps with retention. Hand-tied extensions are so delicate and handmade that they can shed over long periods of time. Machine-made extensions have thicker seams and therefore thicker volume. Conversely, hand-tied extensions have smaller seams and weigh less. It kind of depends on the client. If the client has naturally thicker hair, hand ties may not be full enough. You may have to go with machine gun Kellys. If the client has thinner hair, hand ties may be perfect because they look more natural. You may be wondering, what kind of clients would be the perfect candidate for this method? Someone who doesn't have a lot of time, minimal/moderate drama, more affordable option, someone who has tried tape-ins and is ready to transition to a different method because they're tired of the stickiness, someone who wants a pop of color in the front, like a chunky money piece, for example. Sectioning. Much like tape-ins, you'll brick lay. Because these are columns and not rows, gaps can be an issue in the mid shaft to ends. Keep an eye out as you're pinning. 4 tabs come in one pack. Here is an example of what I would do with one pack. Here is an example of what I would do with 2 packs. Here is an example of a hybrid installation. 1 row of wefts with twin tabs in the front for money piece drama. Think of how you would clip in hair with clip-ins or a halo as your inspo. As we did with the beaded row hand-tied wefts, pin them all in first before committing to your final placement during your consultation. Have your client approve. I will sometimes leave them all pinned in and start installing from the bottom. Sometimes I'll take them all out and just wing it. Just go with what feels best to you in every different situation. One side is smooth and one side is injected. Obviously, you want all the injected sides to be facing up as they tend to be more prone to exposure. Unless your client has a special circumstance. You can put the injected side down on the bottom row so that when the client wears their hair up, you can't see the flat side. Or in this case with Jara, they were directly under her wefts, so I put the smooth side against her wefts and the injected side against her scalp. So when she pulls her hair up, the injected side would be exposed. Pinning. Make sure it's nice and tight with the seam directly on the part. If you're pinning too low, the tab could hang low. I didn't notice this mistake until I made it a few times. Keep it nice and clean. Set yourself up for success. When my partings are messy, stray hairs get caught and ultimately slow me down. It's kind of like braiding in that way. Scooping. Scoop all 6 holes with your crochet hook before squeezing beads to your tab. If you scoop and bead one bead at a time, you could cause discomfort by accidentally scooping too much from the neighboring bead. I know this from personal experience. It's kind of like when you're changing a tire. You tighten each little nut a little at a time around the tire before really tightening them all the way. Scoop out about a tinsel or 2 worth of hair in each opening. It usually takes a few scoops to gather enough hair. Occasionally flip the bottoms up to make sure there aren't any crisscrossing hairs and everything looks lined up. Beading. Start in the middle and work your way out. Squeeze halfway, clear out the strays, squeeze all the way. Edges are pulled from the outside to create 4 beads per tab. Try to angle the outside beads inwards to make sure they are not exposed. Cutting. Treat twin tabs the same you would if they were hand tied. Refer back to the video titled Step 11, Cut to Blend. Next up is extension maintenance. We will talk about mini tightenings on both hand tied and twin tabs. Then we will talk about removals and reinstalls. And also we'll talk about how color appointment patterns / frequencies work while we're at it. Then graduation.